Welcome to 21st Sports, and we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Lovie Smith. The Buccaneers, unjustly in my opinion, have fired Lovie Smith as head coach, which I think makes no sense whatsoever. I cannot believe the Buccaneers would make this move. It is the worst move of any team in terms of coaching that I've seen here so far. Of course, we haven't had that many coaches that have lost their jobs here at the end of 2015, but this one makes no sense whatsoever. Lovie Smith is an excellent coach, and he had the Bucs headed in the right direction. The Bucs actually were very close to making the playoffs this year. They finished 6-10, but they could have been 10-6. For the losses were within one possession. So they were really close to being a winning team this year. They definitely improved upon 2014 when they were 2-14, and then they were 6-10 this year, headed in the right direction. You look at the numbers, they also support this as well, especially their rushing offense. They were fifth in the NFL in rushing yards in 2015. That right there is not something that you should fire your coach when he has the fifth best rushing offense in the league. What are the Bucs thinking? It's as if the ownership wants to lose. I don't know why they would do this. I mean, Lovie had success with the Buccaneers in the past as a defensive coach. He's one of the better defensive coaches in all of football. And back when the Bucs won their Super Bowl, he was an integral part of building that defense for the Buccaneers as he was their linebacker coach. Also an excellent coach in St. Louis. And then in Chicago, he actually won an NFC championship and went to the Super Bowl back in 2006 when the Bears won 13 games. And that's something that the Bucs could have done if Lovie Smith had been given the time to get the team on track. They were already on track, but to get them into the playoffs, have them being, a division champion and an NFC champion and possibly win another Super Bowl. I really believe Lovie Smith had the Bucs headed towards a Super Bowl within his, year 5, pretty much is where I figured he'd get them to the Super Bowl. But just after 2 years, the Buccaneers make a horrible decision in cutting ties with Lovie Smith. Look at the other statistics for Tampa Bay in 2015. They were 5th in offensive yards overall. They were 20th in scoring, though, so they had some trouble getting it into the end zone, but they were moving the ball. They were 17th in passing yards and 5th in rushing yards. So, Jameis Winston, his rookie year, going through some growing pains, but he definitely showed some signs of being the franchise quarterback that they drafted him to be, and to being a Pro Bowler and a leader that could take the Bucs to the postseason. And, of course, with that rushing offense that Lovie had established this year, Doug Martin had a huge, huge year, and I think the Bucs really were on the right track on the offensive side. And defensively, the Buccaneers were 10th in yards allowed. So you're top 10 defense in yards allowed, but they were 26th in points allowed. So, again, same thing with the offense was moving the ball, but they were having trouble getting in the end zone. And on defense, their defense was holding pat, but they were letting up some points. Of course, special teams and also turnovers hurt the Bucs in that category. But it's something that, with the yards, that's right there, the foundation. And as they progressed, as they got, some more moves in the offseason, another draft, Lovie brings in, more of his guys and solidifies that defense. He is a defensive coach. They would have had better stats in 2016. And we look at the passing defense, 16th in yards allowed. That's right there in the middle. And their run defense, 11th. So that's pretty decent numbers on defense. They could be better, but they would have been better if he had been given the time. And that's the thing. You got to have consistency at head coach. You got to be patient. And they were not patient with Lovie. They didn't give him enough time. I think it's a horrible decision by the Buccaneers to fire Lovie Smith. I really was shocked when I found this out. I could not believe that the Bucs would get rid of Lovie. Lovie is one of the best coaches, especially on that defensive side of the ball. And he has the running game going. The passing game will come along. It's the cornerstone. You got to have a good running game. That opens up the passing game and vice versa. And it opens up the play action. And things would have been, a lot better in 2016. I really believe the Bucs were headed towards being a winning team in 2016. But now, with the coaching change, it's going to be tough for someone to come in there and get a winning season out of the Bucs. They still have a lot of talent, don't get me wrong, but they were, already had something good going. Now they got to start all over from scratch once again, and that's not what you want to do. You want to stay consistent, build upon your success. And I could see, after you give them about 4 or 5 years, if you haven't gotten to that point, if you're not winning playoff games, then after year 5 make that change. And then actually at that point you'd have a team that was built, and then a coach could come in and take to the next level. But Lovie already was getting them to the next level. And then they said, I can understand where, if you get to that level of being a playoff contender and then going to the next level, being a Super Bowl champion, then maybe, that would make sense. Even still, I think they should have just gave Lovie the time. He's building a team. It takes time to build a team. I thought the Bucs were going to, have a winning season this year, but it was kind of jumping the gun a little bit. Really, what do you expect in year 2 of this rebuilding process there in Tampa Bay? And it was year 1 of Jameis Winston's career. It's pretty rare that a rookie is going to take you to the promised land. It does happen occasionally, but most times, most of the best quarterbacks, it takes time to get to the postseason. But I think the Bucs really made a huge, huge mistake with getting rid of Lovie. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good week and having a great weekend and enjoying all the sports.